Hello, dear students. Once again, welcome you all on this online lecture platform. And in previous lecture, we have started the topic from microbial systematics, and in that we have started polyphasic approach. Polyphasic approach. These are the approaches or the techniques that are used in microbial taxonomy that are used in identification of particular bacteria or bacterial species, and in that we have covered taxonomy basics regarding taxonomy as well as approaches that are used in polyphasic approach. And in that polyphasic approach uses both phenotypic analysis as well as genotypic analysis, then phylogenetic analysis. Poly means many. So when we use many approaches, more than one approaches for identification of microbes, so that techniques or combined approach is known as polyphasic approach. In that we have started phenotypic analysis, and we have covered most of the details regarding microscopic observation. In that we have seen different aspects of morphological details regarding microbial taxonomy. And now in today's lecture we are going to see the remaining part of morphology based identification of microbes, and in that we are going to see how staining techniques they are help in identification of microbes. So staining is very popular. Actually, microscopy and staining, they are both interrelated. We know that microorganisms, they are semi transparent or completely transparent. So to visualize them clearly, we must stain them. We have to stain, we have to impart color to that microbes to visualize its morphology or visualize the cell, so that different staining techniques are widely used. And staining is perhaps one of the most important tool that is used in various kind of diagnostic as well as identification techniques that are related to microbes. And sometimes it is by only staining we get important clue that what type of microbes it is. Generally the identification strategy that is used in for microbial taxonomy, it depends upon which extent we want to identify the bacteria, okay, or as per the need. So any kind of identification strategy for any kind of bacteria or any kind of microbes is designed as per the need, okay. Sometimes in case of medical microbiology, only staining and microscopic observations they are sufficient to diagnose the infection. That means which type of bacterial infection is there or which type of fungal infection is there, okay. So identification strategy is designed as per the need. If you want to analyze environmental samples, then you have to culture and you have to identify, but there are some of the microbes they are resist to culturing or they are unculturable, so another approaches is used. So ultimately identification strategy is used as per the need, okay. So here in this slide a summary of stains and their characteristics are given. So staining is important as far as preliminary identification is concerned, and microscopic observation is not realistic and not possible without staining. So there are different kinds of staining techniques are widely used. That simple stains are there, then differential staining techniques are there, then special stains, then fluorescent dyes and tags are also used. Simple stain it just used to visualize shape or morphology, and it is easy way to increase contrast between colorless cells and colorless background. And various kinds of simple stains are there, say for example monochrome staining, negative staining, etc. Then in case of differential stain, it is multi-step process that is used to stain cells, and it distinguishes one group of microorganism from another. So as the name suggests, differential staining techniques, they are used to differentiate between different groups and different types of microorganisms. That very popular and very important technique is gram stain. So we know that after performing gram stain, we can differentiate microbial communities into two different categories, gram positive as well as gram negative, and it is very important tool as far as identification of bacteria is concerned. And gram staining is widely performed in various aspects of microbial identification. It may be means it is always performed, and it gives preliminary clues. Okay, so gram stain, it is very popular. You are studying since your first year, and it differentiates cell into both, that is gram positive as well as gram negative. There are two categories, and again, acid fast stain, it is used to differentiate acid fastness, acid non-acid fast and acid fast bacteria. So acid fastness is generally characteristics that is shown by actinomycetes, and a very popular pathogen from that group is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So this technique is widely used in detection of Mycobacterium tuberculosis infection, and there are some special stains in that. Capsule stain is there, then endospore stain, they are used, and they are used to visualize certain specialized structures if they are present in microbial cell, and if the capsule is present or absent, so we can detect by staining with capsule stain. And again, endospore, these are specialized structures that are produced in starvation condition. So simply by endospore staining we can detect presence or absence of endospore. Then flagella stain, again it is important as far as microbial identification is concerned. So simply by staining, flagella staining, we can detect whether the bacteria contains flagella or not. If flagella is present, again we can detect which type of arrangement of flagella is there, whether it is monotrichous, whether it is lopotrichous, whether it is peritrichous, or whether it is amphitrichous. So overall, this flagellar arrangement gives important clue regarding which type of microbial species might be there. Okay, then there are some staining technique that are uses fluorescent properties, and they uses fluorescent dyes as well as tags, and fluorescent microscope, they need fluorescent dye tags preparations, and they are widely used in visualizing cells and various diagnostic techniques. So fluorescent dyes and tags, they are very popular, and in case of fluorescent tags, antibodies to which fluorescent molecule has been attached are used to tag specific molecules. And in case of fluorescent dyes, some fluorescent dyes bind to compounds found in all cells, and others bind to compounds specific to only type of cells. So overall, this slide summarizes different types of staining techniques and their characteristics as well as their important in diagnostic microbiology or in case of identification of any kind of microorganism. So staining is important as far as any kind of microbial identification is concerned, and by staining we get morphological clues, whether cell, we get idea regarding this cell shape of that microorganism, and we can detect which type of cells are there, whether it is bacteria, bacteria, fungi, or sometimes we can detect means we can detect shape also. Some, say for example, bacillus is there, coca is there. Then we can also detect arrangement of cells, say for example diplococcus, streptococcus, streptococcus, and all the things we get cleared after staining and microscopic observation. So these are overall details regarding phenotypic features and phenotypic characteristics that are used in microbial identification. Next, we're going to see physiological and biochemical basis of microbial identification. So in that, first is oxygen requirement of microorganism. Again, this is very peculiar feature in case of microbes, that whether they use oxygen, whether they do not use oxygen for their growth, and in that, by dependent upon oxygen requirement, there are different categories of microbes are there. It includes obligate aerobes, then facultative anaerobes, then obligate anaerobes, then microaerophil and aerophilic aerotolerant anaerobes. So in case of obligate aerobes, they grows only when O2 is available, and they require O2 for their normal respiration, and they produces superoxide dismutase as well as catalase enzyme. So obligate aerobes, they require strict presence of oxygen, and in presence of oxygen they can grow. Then in case of facultative anaerobes, they grow best when O2 is available, but also grows without it. So facultative anaerobes, they are growth both in aerobic as well as anaerobic condition, and they uses oxygen for their respiration if available, and they produces superoxide dismutase as well as catalase enzyme. Then obligate anaerobes, they cannot grow when O2 is present. They are strictly anaerobic microorganism or strictly anaerobic bacteria, and they do not require any kind of oxygen for their growth, and they does not use O2 for their normal respiration, and they does not produce any kind of enzymes like superoxide dismutase or catalase. Then microaerophilic, as the name suggests, they require very small amount of oxygen for their normal growth, and they require this oxygen for their normal respiration, and they produces some superoxide dismutase as well as catalase. Then aerotolerant anaerobes, they grow equally well with or without oxygen, and they does not use oxygen for their normal respiration, and produces both superoxide dismutase, but they do not produces catalase. So overall, these are various categories of bacteria or microorganism depends upon oxygen requirement for their growth. So again, we get important clue by using this feature, uh, and there are different categories of microbes as we have already discussed, and based on their oxygen requirement we can classify them or we can identify them. See in this picture, you can clearly see that aerobic bacteria, they move towards upward side. Then microaerophilic, they are somewhat middle position, and facultative anaerobes, they are dispersed in oral media. And in case of aerotolerant, again it is same as per facultative anaerobe, and in case of anaerobic, they are strictly uh, they avoid oxygen, presence of oxygen, and that's why they are settled at bottom. So here these are all means the one thing I want to clear here, that the alone morphological features, they are not sufficient to identify particular bacteria or particular microorganism. So morphology in case of taxonomy, in case of taxonomy related to plants and animals, their morphological features are very important as far as their identification is concerned. So most of their taxonomy is based on their morphological features in case of plants and animals, but here in case of microbiology, morphological features alone, they are not sufficient. So we have to go for physiological as well as biochemical data, and sometimes higher than that physiological and biochemical data, we have to go for molecular analysis, and molecular analysis is the only tool that can confirm which type of microbial species is there. So here there are some characteristics of some important biochemical tests are there, that catalase production is there, then citrate utilization is there, then production of gelatin is there, then hydrogen sulfide production is there, indole, lysine, decarboxylase. Okay, so all these tests, they are performed whether suppose say these are catalase and gelatinase, these are enzymes, whether particular microbes produces this enzyme. If they produces, the test is assigned as positive, and if they are they do not produces any kind of these enzymes, so test is assigned as negative. So overall, all these clues we collect and we compare with the already published data or already characterized group of microbes, and after comparing we can place unidentified microbes into particular taxonomic category. So catalase is an enzyme produced by some of the microbes, and then citrate, it is utilized by some of the microbes. Not all microbes utilize citrate. And gelatinase, again it is an hydrolytic enzyme. It liquefies gelatin. Then hydrogen sulfide, it detects H2S release as sulfur containing amino acids, they are degraded. Then indole production, it is again important as far as biochemical taste is concerned. Then lysine decarboxylase, it detects enzymatic removal of carboxyl group from lysine. So overall, these are few examples of biochemical tests that are routinely performed for identification of particular microbial species. Next, methylate test is there, then oxidase test is there, then sugar fermentation test, they are again important. So various kinds of sugars, they are utilized, and their fermentation ability is checked, whether a particular microbes produce ferments particular sugar. And this is routine techniques, routine biochemical techniques that is performed in identification of microbes in various laboratories. Then urease production is there, then Vogel's-Prosker test is there. So all these tests, they are important as far as collection of biochemical data and physiological properties of microbes they are concerned. So we get again various clues regard by after performing this biochemical test. So here in this picture you can see various tests and their results. In that, carbohydrate fermentation test is there, then TSA iron TSA utilization test is there, then urease test is there. And you can just simply observing color change or growth pattern, you assign whether particular test is positive or particular test is negative. So it get important clues. Here summary of IMVIC test. In that, indole production, if indole is produced, ring is appeared. If it is not produced, ring is not appeared, and positive test is indicated by presence of ring, and negative test is indicated by absence of ring. Similarly, methylate test, color change after pH variation, we can observe color change. And next, Vogel's-Prosker test and citrate test. So simply by in citrate test, whether growth occurs, so it utilizes citrate. If growth is not there, so particular microbes it not utilizes citrate. Then in case of Vogel's-Prosker test, similarly we can observe ring, and if ring is observed, test is considered as a positive. If ring is not there, test is considered as a negative. So overall, this biochemical test much more about details. It gives details regarding physiology of particular bacteria and physiology of particular microorganism, and we get important clues for identification of that bacteria. Here various extracellular enzyme production tests are also carried out. It includes starch hydrolysis test, then lipid hydrolysis, then casein hydrolysis, as well as gelatin hydrolysis. Then various intracellular enzyme tests, they are performed. It includes carbohydrate fermentation, then litmus reaction, then hydrogen sulfide production, then nitrate reduction, then catalase reaction, then urease test and oxidase test. All these are performed for detection of particular enzyme. And IMVIC test, they are very popular, and 4 tests we already discussed. And these are special tests for separation of enteric microorganisms. So overall, all these biochemical tests, they are performed to detect particular microbes. Okay. The next test that is used in identification of microbes is antibiotic sensitivity. So antibiotics, that are the antimicrobial substances that are produced by one kind of microorganism, and that inhibit or kills other kind of microbes. And antibiotics, they are popular, and they are very important as far as chemotherapy is concerned. So antibiotic sensitivity is one of the important criteria that is used in identification of particular bacteria or particular microorganism. So it is unknown or unidentified strains, they are tested against various concentration of different kinds of antibiotics, and their sensitivity or resistance is checked by various methods, agar dilution method, then disc diffusion methods. So again, antibiotic sensitivity is important feature, and we get important clue whether a particular bacteria is sensitive or resistant to particular antibiotic. So again, it is important parameter that is used in identification of microorganism. Then next, serological analysis. It is used in especially in medical diagnostics, and it is based on proteins and polysaccharide of some bacteria can function as identifying markers. And so proteins, as we know that bacteria contains protein as well as polysaccharide antigen, and we can detect the presence of these antigen, and ultimately we can identify that particular bacteria. So generally molecules on the surface structures, it includes cell wall, glycocalyx, flagella and pili. So the detection is based on specific interaction between antibodies and antigens. So specific antibodies that are raised against these antigens, and these antibodies, they are known as the monoclonal antibodies, and simply by combining these antibodies with that antigen, we can identify that bacteria, which type of bacteria is there. So generally this serological analysis is carried out in medical microbiology as for diagnostic purpose, and we can diagnose infections, and there are various kind of tests based on serological analysis are there. So say for example, rapid detection of Staphylococcus pyogenes we can is there. Okay, so here serological analysis is important, and it is very quick, and we get it does not require means so many sophisticated techniques, and we can quickly analyze whether which type of bacteria is there. Okay, then there are some disadvantages related to traditional methods, and these disadvantages are it needs experience and it needs expertise. Then these processes are very complicated, and it consumes both they consume labor as well as time, and they perform means they require various expertise skills. Okay, so how to perform and interpret a miniature multi-test technique in bacterial identification? So these are some of the disadvantages related to these traditional methods, and it requires various time, labor, as well as these are very expensive. So API system. So these are commercial modification of traditional methods. Okay, so the traditional methods of biochemical analysis we have already discussed. So API system or biolog system, the systems which are will going to discuss in couple of slides, they are commercial modification of these traditional methods. So the API identification system is numerical taxonomy according to microbial physiological and biochemical characteristics. So these are the modern tools, and this is the modern tool that is used in microbial identification, but the principle used in this modern tool is traditional. So the API identification system is it is used in numerical taxonomy, and according to this technique is based on microbial physiology and biochemical characteristics. The API test kit can identify a wide range of microorganisms. So actually these are test kits, and it includes various kinds of media, dehydrated media, and simply inoculating microbes, and by checking results we can identify which type of microorganism is there. So these are test kits. So API test kits can identify a wide range of microorganisms, and they have standardized and extensive database of characteristics and biochemical reactions of microorganisms. So here you can see in this picture, so this test is rapid test, and these are commercial modification of traditional biochemical based test, and it includes API system, trademark system, then biolog microbial identification system. So we will discuss in detail. See, these are commercial products for bacterial identification, and these are API based test, and these are actually test kits, and we can perform multiple tests at a single time, and they are this test we can identify or we can check different kinds of microbes in a very shorter period, and it includes various kinds of test, biochemical test. Okay, so see, these are test kits that are used in identification of commercial identification of commercial products. These are used for bacterial identification. Okay, So if you see these strips, so it includes plastic strips and it contains couples or cups, and they contains microtubules and which contains dehydrated media. So simply what you have to do, you have to inoculate your suspension of bacteria that you have to identify, and simply by checking after incubation you have to check results whether particular test is positive or particular test is negative. So by using these kits you can perform many tests at a single time, so these test kits includes various sugars that are various sugar fermentation tests as well as various enzyme production tests. See, these are various kinds of strips are there, and we can simply you have to just simply inoculate the suspension, and after incubation you can examine its color. So these are not commercial modification of traditional based methods, and at a time you can check sugar fermentation of various kinds of sugar, as well as at a time you can check various kinds of enzyme production test by using these test kits. So these are various kinds of commercial test kits. It includes API 50CH that are used to performance of carbohydrate metabolism test. The API 50CH test, these are used for carbohydrate metabolism test or carbohydrate fermentation test. Then API Zyme, it detects presence or absence of particular enzyme, and these are semi quantification of enzymatic activities test kits. Then API 20E, it includes 11 biochemical tests and enzymatic activities and 9 fermentation and oxidation tests. So here the protocol is given to perform API 20E system, and it is very simply to perform. You have to just isolate the unidentified microbes in pure culture, then you have to prepare suspension of that isolated colonies, then you have to inoculate that test kits, and you have to incubate and read the observation, or you have to simply observe the color change, and you have to assign whether particular test is positive or particular test is negative. So here you can see positive test as well as negative test. So simply by observing color change we can detect whether particular sugar is fermented or particular taste is positive or particular taste is negative. So these are very rapid tests as far as traditional tests are concerned, and they are used in most of the laboratories. Then next identification system is biolog system, and the biolog system is used for identification of bacteria, yeast and fungi. Okay, so this is modern system that utilizes tetrazolium redox dyes that are used to calorimetrically indicate utilization of carbon sources or resistance to inhibitory chemicals. So biolog is a machine, actually it identifies which type of microbial species are there. So simply what you have to do, you have to inoculate these plates with suspension, and you have to just simply check the computer database already is present there, and that detects whether particular microbes is present or not. So it is very simple and straightforward procedure. You have to isolate pure cultures on agar media, then you have to prepare inoculum at specified cell density, then you have to inoculate that biolog microplate. Biolog machine, it contains microplate, and just like a microtiter plate, you have to inoculate the suspension in microtiter plate or microplate, and after incubation you have to observe and enter the reaction pattern to obtain ID result. So it is automated method, and what kind of microbes or which kind of microbial species is there you can identify it by database. Okay, so it is very simple and straightforward procedure to carry out. You have to just isolate, prepare, inoculate and incubate and read. Okay, so commercial systems, they are very accurate as far as traditional systems are concerned, and they are for used for detection of more common species, and they provide quick test result in cost effective manner. So commercial systems, they are very accurate for more common species, they are used for detection of more common species, and they provide quick test quick test result in cost of effective manner. So micro station system has extensive application, and it is also used for microbial community analysis in soil, water as well as other environment. So these are the two very popular techniques or commercial modified techniques, that is biolog and API systems. They are widely used in identification of particular microbes or microbial communities or microbial species. So what are the challenges in phenotypic identification? So as the number of newly described taxa increase day by day, a problem with commercial system is construction of database. As we know that each and every day new species of microbes they are reported, and the database to manage all these database is very difficult task. Okay, so this is the very challenging issue as far as phenotypic identification is concerned. And next, phenotypic properties do not accurately reflect entire extent of genomic complexity of given species. So as I told you before, also alone morphological feature in case of microbes, they are not sufficient to identify particular species of bacteria or particular species of microbes. So we have to go to a higher test based on molecular level, and phenotypic properties can be unstable at a time, and expression can be dependent upon changes in environmental conditions. So various phenotypic features, they are based on environmental conditions, and they are not sufficient for identification of particular microbes, and they can use only for microbes. So these phenotypic features we can use for microbes, those we can use this technique of phenotypic identification for microorganism, so that can be cultivated in vitro. Okay, so this is cultural dependent identification. So phenotypic identification can be done with the microorganism that can be cultivated on agar media. Okay, so it is not applicable for uncultured microbial communities. Okay, so these are some challenges that are related to phenotypic identification. So overall, these are the details regarding morphological or phenotypic based analysis. In next lecture, we will going to see some chemotaxonomic marker based identification of microorganism. Thanks.